Good evening, my dear friends, and welcome to part 27 of our webinars on the Christian mystics, and it's good to have your company here this evening. But first, let us just be still for a moment and just come back to our heart and let us relax. And as we relax, I would like you to join me in sharing with you the beautiful prayer of entry into our interior castle, our soul, by none other than the great mystic Teresa of Avila. And Teresa shares this with our hearts. I cross the bridge into the silent bliss of my castle. I close the drawbridge and forbid all outside influences from entry into this holy place. A place that is my soul. And here in my castle, I am alone with God, and under God's light and companionship, I discover the depth and the beauty of my own soul. I embrace the power of prayer. I open myself to divine guidance, and I surrender myself to become as a channel for grace, healing, and service as God directs my life. Stay with those words, for those words are the key to unlocking the mystic within inside us, and you and I are all mystics in training. So tonight we begin with another Christian mystic, the Jesuit priest and scientist, Teilhard de Chardin. And this is what Chardin says to us. Our own age seems primarily to need a rejuvenation of supernatural forces to be affected by driving roots deeply into the nutritious energies of the earth, because it is not sufficiently moved by a truly human compassion, because it is not exalted by a sufficiently passionate admiration of the universe. Our religion is becoming enfeebled. And Matthew Fox says that Teilhard de Chardin, a Jesuit priest and scientist, proposes that our religion is becoming enfeebled. We are too cut off from the awe and wonder and a passionate admiration of the universe. We are too anthropocentric, living our lives entirely in manufactured boxes. Thus, we lack a truly human compassion, and we are cut off from our deeper roots, which derive from the nutritious energies of the earth. Is religion enfeebled? How can we discover or recover this sense of community and compassion and admiration? A good question. And next we share with you another reflection from Teilhard de Chardin when he says, purity is not a debilitating separation from all created reality, but an impulse carrying one through all forms of created beauty. And Matthew says, Teilhard seeks to redefine purity from the aesthetic tradition of cutting oneself off from that which is material and created and fleshy to being an instinct or an impulse that carries us through all forms of beauty. Purity for Teilhard is expansive, not restricted. So many forms reveal the divine beauty. Do you like this definition of purity? I do. What is your definition of purity? What is the relationship between purity and beauty? Asks Matthew Fox. And Teilhard de Chardin says, till the very end of time, matter will always remain young, exuberant, sparkling, newborn for those who are willing. And Matthew interprets this as Teilhard sounds very optimistic here. He is not whining about how matter runs down and dies and renders us tired. Quite the opposite, he says. He is saying that matter is always young and will always remain young. Matter is always new. That is one of the spiritual insights derived from evolution and from observing life. Matter, is constantly being created. But as Teilhard points out, this perspective accrues only to those who are willing. Individuals remain spiritually young when they are open and willing to join forces of youthfulness and renewal. Notice that evolution for Teilhard is not an obstacle to face, quite the opposite. It offers insight on the deeper dimensions of a spiritual life. How young are we, asks Matthew Fox. Do we willingly and exuberantly embrace youthful change in life and history and revolution? And another beautiful reflection from Chardin: an ever-increasing number of persons are beginning to distinguish a noosphere which is like a halo around the biosphere. Noosphere, the living membrane which is stretched like a film over the lustrous surface of the star which holds us. An ultimate envelope taking on its own individuality and gradually detaching itself like a luminous aura. This envelope was not only conscious but thinking, the very soul of the earth. Isn't that just beautiful? And of course, Matthew says, Chardin attempts to name the very soul of the earth. Today, people are talking about Gaia, the earth as a living system. But decades ago, Teilhard was also talking about the oneness of the earth and the lustrous surface of the star which holds us, a halo or luminous envelope that protects us and is conscious and thinking. Matthew says he called this the noosphere. What are the implications of this way of looking at the earth and the atmosphere? And Teilhard de Chardin says matter and spirit, these were no longer two things, but two states or two aspects of one and the same cosmic stuff, according to whether it was looked at or carried further in the direction in which it is becoming itself, or in the direction in which it is disintegrating. Matter is the matrix of spirit. Spirit is the higher state of matter. But Matthew Fox says, Teilhard de Chardin rediscovered this ancient teaching, which preceded the patriarchal teaching rooted in Plato, of what Augustine called the war between matter and spirit, body and soul. Like Eckhart, who said the soul loves the body, and like Aquinas, who taught that soul is the elan in matter, Teilhard celebrates the wonderful communion of matter and spirit. They are no longer two things, but two states or two aspects of one and the same cosmic stuff. But Matthew says a marriage has occurred. Matter and spirit feed each other. Incarnation is not to be ignored. Matter is the matrix of spirit, and spirit is a higher state of matter. When matter and spirit are wedded, what are the implications regarding our attitudes toward our bodies? Sexuality, economics, animals, the earth, forms of education, worship. And we read another reflection from the great Teilhard de Chardin, the Christian mystic, who says, matter was not ultra-materialized as I would have first believed, but was instead metamorphosed into psyche. Spirit was by no means the enemy on the opposite pole of the tangibility which it was seeking to attain. Rather, it was its very heart. And Matthew Fox explains this by saying, Teilhard de Chardin came to realize by his study of evolution that spirit was the very heart of matter, that matter evolved and morphed into psyche. Psyche was born of matter, and through all this evolving, spirit was present at the core of things. Teilhard invites us to be aware of consciousness everywhere and to recognize consciousness evolving. Spirit and tangibility are not enemies or even opposites. Seek for the heart of tangible experience. Is that spirit at work for you also? And Teilhard de Chardin says, I give the name of cosmic sense to the more or less confused affinity that binds us psychologically to the all which envelops us. In order that the sense of humanity might emerge, it was necessary for civilization to begin to encircle the earth. The cosmic sense must have been born as soon as humanity found itself facing the frost, the sea, and the stars. And since then, we find evidence of it in all our experience of the great and unbounded, in art, in poetry, and in religion. And Matthew Fox says, Teilhard talks of the cosmic sense and how it came to evolve. He sees this cosmic awareness in all art, poetry, and religion worthy of the name, in all our experience of the great and unbounded. This cosmic sense binds us psychologically to the all which envelops us. This sense was awakened by the awesome awareness in humans of the sea and stars and frost. It is what is meant by the cosmic Christ, the presence of the divine image in all things that elicits awe from us. Do you have this experience also, asks Matthew Fox? Do you express this through your art, poetry, and religion? How is your species doing today in expanding and expressing this cosmic sense? Do the internet and the World Wide Web, for example, carry on this evolutionary trend? And Teilhard de Chardin says creatures can come into being like shoots from a stem, only as part of an endlessly renewed process of evolution. And Matthew says we and all creatures are part of an endlessly renewed process of evolution. Do you feel that you are part of this caravan of life? That you and every being you meet are part of a 14 billion year journey? Does this help to arouse your sense of the sacred? Does this make you feel less alone, less alienated, more alive, more enthused? And Teilhard de Chardin says that magic word evolution, which haunted my thoughts like a tune, which was to me like unsatisfied hunger, like a promise held out to me, like a summons to be answered. And Matthew, it goes on to explain here by saying, Teilhard found poetry and magic and music in the very word evolution. The promise, the summons he felt was to marry this scientific truth with spiritual truth. And he spent much of his life doing so. He also paid a dear price for doing so. Most of his books were not published until after his death because the Catholic Church was threatened by his marriage of science, evolution, and religion. What meaning does the word evolution carry for you? Is it a cold, objective, scientific fact, lacking wonder or spirit? It is an unsettling challenge to religious beliefs, something to go to battle over. Can we see the joy, the warmth, and magic that Teilhard de Chardin found? What is evolution calling you to do today? Are we generous enough to embrace it as a still unsatisfied hunger? And Teilhard de Chardin says to understand the world, knowledge is not enough. You must see it, touch it, live in its presence, and drink the vital heat of existence in the very heart of reality. And Matthew says, Teilhard urges us to move beyond knowledge. Knowledge is not enough. We must taste life and make it very personal and erotic and unforgettable. Interestingly, the word for wisdom in both Hebrew and Latin derives from the word for taste. Taste and see that the God is good, sings the psalmist. And Teilhard de Chardin too is inviting us beyond knowledge to wisdom. And for wisdom to occur, we must taste life in all its dimensions. See it, touch it, live in its presence, and drink the vital heat of existence. In what ways are you drinking the vital heat of existence? Asks Matthew Fox. In what ways would you like to? And Teilhard de Chardin says, let us advance one step further. What name should we give to this physio-moral energy of personalization to which all activities displayed by the stuff of the universe are finally reduced? Only one name is possible if we are to credit it with the generality and power that it should assume in rising to the cosmic order. Love. Love. The conclusion is always the same. Love is the most powerful and still the most unknown energy of the world. And according to Matthew Fox, Teilhard places love in the context of not just the personal and psychological, but cosmology. He sees love, the physio-moral energy of personalization, abounding in the universe. Have you made this shift also, he asks? What are some implications of this change of consciousness around the world, around the word love? How does it affect our experience of falling in love and of religion itself? And according to Teilhard de Chardin, here the cosmic role of sexuality appears in its full breadth. And there, at the same time, the rules appear which will guide us in the mastery of that terrifying energy in which the power that causes the universe to converge on itself passes through us. The first of these rules is that love, in conformity with the general laws of creative unison, contributes to the spiritual differentiations of the two beings which it brings together. The one must not absorb the other, nor, still less, should the two lose themselves in the enjoyments of physical possession, which would signify a lapse into plurality and return to nothingness. And according to Matthew Fox, sexuality dwells in a cosmic context, not just in a personal or ego or psychological one. Do you experience a cosmic connection when you make love? Teilhard cautions that true human love is not about surrendering one's autonomy. That way lies a return to nothingness. To rediscover the sacredness of lovemaking is also to lift the veil on the shadow side of sexuality. Misuse of sex, such as rape, renders a cosmic-sized rupture in the human soul. Sexual abuse as a child can haunt a person for decades, well into adulthood. And Teilhard says, love is an adventure and a conquest. It survives and develops, like the universe itself, only by perpetual discovery. And Matthew says, Teilhard seems to be saying that love, like the universe, is a process of self-discovery and adaptation, a basic element of evolution. This means that neither we nor the world is ever finished. What have you found in your own relationships? Does romantic love survive and develop only by perpetual discovery? Does a marriage? How do we maintain an attitude of perpetual discovery and keep curiosity alive in everything we do? Let's just focus on those words, for they are powerful words. Are they speaking to your heart? And now we read, Teilhard says, by virtue of the creation and still more of the incarnation, nothing here below is profane for those who know how to see it. That's profound. And Matthew says some theologies are very busy separating the sacred from the profane. Teilhard believes there is no such distinction. Eckhart said, nature is grace, thus refusing to separate nature from grace and the profane from the sacred. Teilhard attributes awareness of the marriage of the profane and the sacred to the incarnation, or the understanding that God is enfleshed in history and evolution. The cosmic Christ is present in all events. Do you agree with Teilhard de Chardin and Eckhart? What are further implications of this awareness? Well, now, I think we've said enough and read enough for this evening, and we shall put that aside for now, and we shall just come to our heart and experience the stillness and the love of the cosmic Christ as you and I evolve into a co-creator of God. In this stillness, let us embrace the cosmic Christ. Let us invite, invoke, and ask of the cosmic Christ to come into our life, to reawaken our heart to all that we have heard this evening. Some of it appears very academic, but what is Spirit saying to us? What are you feeling in here? One thing is for sure, that whatever God has made is made in the image and likeness of God's love. So let us embrace that love. For that love is knocking on the door of our heart. It's waiting patiently for us to say, yes, come in. Take a seat and be still. Be still in the presence of the cosmic Christ. What are you sensing now? What are you experiencing in this cosmic interaction between your heart and that of the cosmic heart? The heart of divine love. And let us embrace that love. For there is no greater love than to be loved by the cosmic Christ. Be at peace now. Be at peace, and thank you for giving up your evening to join us for this webinar on another great Christian mystic, Teilhard de Chardin. And now we come to say our beautiful prayer of exit, given to us by none other than the Spanish mystic, the great Teresa of Avila. I am a channel of grace. As I leave my castle, grace surrounds me and grace protects me. I enter my life under the blessing of God, and I remain open to receive guidance from my soul. Good night and God bless you, and I look forward to your company again very soon. Be still and know that the cosmic Christ is with you. He is in you. He is all around you. Surrender your heart and become a part of this amazing cosmology